Welcome to the Hyperbeat podcast. Each episode, we chat with fitness professionals to get the story behind the business they created. All right, guys, welcome back to episode 8 of the Hyperbeat podcast. On today's episode, we chat with Samantha Oldham of the Australian Health and Fitness Federation. AHFF operate out of Belmont in Western Australia and are a registered training organisation delivering Certificate 3 and 4 in fitness and a diploma in fitness. Additionally, they teach courses in powerlifting, nutrition, Olympic lifting, kickboxing and MMA. My first question for Sam, where did her passion for fitness originate?
Essentially, all through high school, I was pretty much captain of sporting teams and captain of different head girls and things like that. So I was very much already quite active. But then what happened was as soon as high school was out, all of a sudden you stopped everything. You didn't have to be there at certain times. And obviously I went to university as well. And, you get into the partying and that kind of life and late nights and studying and ordering pizza at midnight. And all of a sudden, next thing I knew, I had ballooned out by like 30, 40 kilos or something.
Oh, wow.
And it was, in such a short period of time. And Malcolm actually started a local gym back in 2010. So I saw an ad in the paper, headed down, and it was the second day he opened, and that we kind of hit it off straight away. After that, I became one of his clients for about 3 months, and then I was fortunate enough to actually get a scholarship to go study law. Okay, and cool. So he was the one who actually pushed me into university, things like that. Mm-hmm. We remained in contact while studying. And about halfway through my degree, he goes, well, you're over there, you're doing this. So I started doing all his contracts and helping with his marketing and building a, Facebook, because at the time it was still quite new for him and it was new to business, things like that. So we kind of bounced off each other, worked that way. And then so the gym was operating for maybe about a year, and I had come in maybe about 4 or 5 months into it. I was doing everything virtually and through phone calls, things like that, because I was obviously on the eastern states. And then I went to the Middle East, and I did some work for the Australian government over there. And while he was over there, I had a few unfortunate incidents with some employees that he had hired personal trainers from other places, and they weren't, it's one of those things that she was given a client with a lower back injury that she had brought into the gym, and the first thing she gave was a straight leg deadlift.
Oh, okay. And
it's one of those things, he looked at it after he's seeing it. Everyone knows you don't give someone with a lower back injury, a severe one, a straight leg deadlift. It's not going to be great for them. So he gave me a call, and I was over in Dubai at the time, and he goes, how hard is it to put an institute together? We need to try and raise this level. They need more practical experience. I said, I don't know, let's find out. Got on the next plane home, and the rest is kind of history from there.
Well, so you actually gave up your job for the Australian government? Yeah.
So it was an internship at the time that could have turned into more work, but I kind of loved what he was doing, and I loved the concept of it. I also, to be honest, kind of liked the idea of being my own boss as well. And then, we're here 8-9 years later. So it's
so if I could just backtrack, did the institutes, it obviously didn't start as an institute, it started as a gym with and then along the way the idea came forward to turn it into an institute for training, for education.
Yeah, so we did a combination. So we still heavily got our 24/7 gym, so that's order 24/7.
Yep. So if you're a normal punter and you just want to work out at a gym, you can do that through that.
Most definitely, yeah. And then we obviously attached the Australian Health and Fitness Federation to Auto 24/7, and it just allowed, so all of our members now can have free classes whenever they want. They can also have free personal training, because obviously all the students can then get practice, so it benefits both businesses.
Yeah, so it's a win-win for the members and the students.
And the more students we get in, the more members obviously can get more free personal training, and the more variety of clients that they get who, they're not going to be walking in and like love fitness. They're going to have their days where they're not feeling great, where the PT has to motivate them, or they might get injured walking in, trip over, and but suddenly, the program that they've set out, if it's a circuit, they've got a knee injury now, so they've got to change it on the spot. So it gives a different level for our PTs to really be a lot more experienced and confident by the time they leave, as well as giving them testimonials and before and after photos, because if they're following it, it's a short journey, like it's only 6 to 8 weeks of actual client training when you look at it, but 8 weeks can change someone's life quite drastically.
If you do the work, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So when the PTs leave, they've got, 10, 12 clients where they've already got a portfolio and testimonial from, so they don't have to spend the next 6, 8 months,
building
obviously.
That up. Yeah.
Exactly. So building credibility and showing people what they can do. They've got it from pretty much day one after they leave.
So in terms of overarching education, what are the funnels that people can get trained in through your institute? So
the certificate 3 and 4 is, we are a registered training organisation. So we do fall under the AHFF guidelines, which is very important. We then also have similar to the continuous education courses that run. So we do a lot with Henry Day and Corey Miller from the Muscle Pit. So we actually run a specialised powerlifting course, which they can become also a referee out of.
Cool.
Then we've got our nutritionist and dietitian that we work to build a nutrition course. Then we've got some MMA with Kim Piper, and we've also an Evolution MMA. And then we also pair up with Hit Safe to do kickboxing and groundwork. So once they do obviously graduate from their Cert 3 and 4, we really view it as a starting point into the fitness industry, so then they can grow from there.
So what percentage of people do the certificates and then move into the extra training?
We would probably have, so say we have 5 students, we'd have about 3 of them who would go into some sort of education program afterwards.
And then in terms of timelines, the certificate takes how long, and then how long for the extra courses?
So usually we set about 3 months as a guideline for the Cert 3 and 4.
Okay, and is that full time?
It is full time. However, with a lot of our students, we deal with a lot of full time workers, and also FIFO workers seem to be our speciality, in the sense that because we've got quite small classes, we cap it at 5 students, but we also then have the ability to personalise around their life. So, for example, if we're dealing with a single mum and she's working full time, she'll have a personalised program in which she would only come in on a Saturday and maybe one night during the week. And then she would get more one-on-one attention. Whereas then those who actually want to do it full time have that ability to do it full time as well.
Okay.
So we really want to make sure that it's not big classes. Otherwise people get lost. They become just a number, and then they can hide. Whereas having 5 people means that they can really, or even sometimes it's one-on-one, we can actually look at their weaknesses and go, right, this is where we can strengthen you. And then they're really bringing up their whole, career, their whole course, and they're actually going to be good when they leave.
So if it sounds like you have the ability to be more flexible in your classes and work more closely with the students that come through.
Yeah, most definitely. And that was one of the biggest things when we started. Obviously, business is, you've got to make money, you've got to pay your bills, and you've got all your overheads. But at the same time, you've got to have that integrity behind what you're teaching, and also the types of courses, that are coming through. If you do an online course, which is fine for people who say have been in the industry in some way, shape or form for years, and they're just trying to get that piece of paper so they can work, it's fine. But PTs don't sit behind a computer. They're out on the gym floor, they're talking to people, they're dealing with injuries consistently, they're dealing with motivating clients, functional movement screenings. They've got to be able to do all that practically. Whereas some of the PTs that we've had come in who want to rent space or have a chat to us can't even do simple things like skin folds measurement, so it's one of those things that we have to make sure that when our students walk out, that the basics and the fundamentals of being a personal trainer, it's already ingrained, so it's second nature, which is important. So it's a lot of repetition, a lot of client base, and a lot of practical training.
So let's have a chat about the way you guys market the Institute to potential clients. Are you doing, are you running Facebook ads? Are you out in the community? How are you actually promoting the brand?
So we do a lot of Facebook advertisements, and also having all of our landing pages like ClickFunnels, and we do some YouTube channels, Snapchat, Instagram. So we're quite heavily based on the social media. From the community side of point of view, we actually work with Western Australian high schools, and we deliver the Cert 3 and 4 course over a 2-year period. They do get a bit of a discount coming in from a school, but it also means that they can study Cert 3 in Year 11, Cert 4 in Year 12, and really gives them an alternative pathway if they don't want to go into university.
Is that a relatively new project that you guys have got up and running?
The first school we did it with was St. Norbert College. We did it about 3 years ago.
Okay.
So the program itself is fairly new. It's only about 3 years. However, it's been fantastic. We've had one of our high school students actually travelled around America last year training cheerleaders for 6 months.
Okay.
So it's very, when you start looking outside the box of renting space from a gym or working in outdoors, the opportunities within the fitness industry are endless.
Oh, they're huge. They're massive.
Yeah,
Yep.
Exactly. And it's just about educating even the parents as well, especially because they're investing their money and obviously their children into this course. It's making sure that they understand that it's not just you don't have two options when you graduate. You know, there's so much you can do.
Sam, you want to run through, if I was to walk into the institute, what would I expect to see on my first day?
So the first day is always nerve-wracking for a lot of students,
Yeah,
especially those who haven't been in the industry.
Yep.
But it's really good. So basically what happens is you come in, obviously you do your meet and greet, we show you around for OHS and risk, and then you go into the gym floor with Malcolm. So Malcolm Carney is my business partner and the original founder of Aura. And basically you go onto the gym floor with him. He shows you around the gym. He talks to you about the equipment, so the names of the equipment, how to use it, how to adjust it, and also the major and minor muscle groups, just to get you familiar with what to expect when you're on the gym floor. We would then obviously have a little bit of a break because some people's minds are a little bit blown and we need to just bring them back. Yeah. Then we go into a little bit of theory work. So we would cover, say on the first day, we'd look at sexual harassment within the industry, and we'd also then look at client orientation. So when someone walks into the gym, what would they be expecting? What would they be expecting from the PT, but also from the gym itself? So making sure that we've covered things like the gym and the toilets are clean. You know, it's one of the biggest reasons people leave a 24/7 gym is because of cleanliness.
Yeah, so, it's a big one for people. I totally agree with that statement.
Yeah, and so we've got to make sure that we impart that on the students so that there is that form of part of the course that if they do want to go and run their own gym, that this is what they got to expect. Then we would go into, say, client orientation and HIT and screenings. So we would look at PARQs, we'd look at future client screenings, we'd show them how to do fitness testing, and we'd also show them how to actually build that rapport with the client and talk to them and ask more open-ended questions, because we tend to have a lot of times where people are so quick that they want to talk, but they don't actually actively listen to what the client has to say. You know, especially when it comes to sales, it's 70% actually listening to the client and only 30% trying to solve the problems that client has got. Because if you can't problem solve and you can't actually, you know, listen to what they want and you're just spitting out services to them, they're not interested. It's a lot of the time, you know, we do serve within our scope of practice as, I guess, a little bit of a psychiatrist base as well, especially for those who are coming into the industry and not really sure. They might be a little bit overweight. They've never walked into a gym before, or they're trying to get back into it and they're nervous, and really saying to our students that, you know, you're the first point of call. They're your reference point in which they're going to be turning to you for advice. So it's about building that relationship and establishing that trust from the moment that they walk into the gym.
So do you find people who start on the course have got a fitness background already, or are they just having a career change and saying this is what I want to do with the rest of my life?
It's a bit of a mix for us. We are quite lucky that a lot of our students do tend to be generally over the age of 25, so they have worked, which makes it a lot easier for certain subjects to teach. I guess the biggest thing would be a lot of people have come into the fitness industry because they've either liked training and they've enjoyed it and they're no longer wanting to be in a corporate office or a desk. We've got then the FIFO workers who want to spend more time with their families, so they want to change, but they've got that passion. And then we do have people who have never walked into a gym before, and they just wanted to change. About 3 years ago, we had a student walk in, and she was 35 at the time, and she had never set foot in a gym ever.
Oh, wow.
She had never done any sort of exercise, but she had seen an ad pop up, and she just thought, yeah, that would be a cool fitness career. And she was basically starting from scratch. You know, we were going on the gym floor and going, all right, this is a lateral pull down. This is what it's for. You know, these are the muscles we're using. And then we had to really take it back right down to the basics. Whereas then we've got other students who have, you know, might have come from another country and wanted to be PTs in Australia, so there'd be recognition of prior learning, or they've just always done PT or gym instructing in some way, shape or form and just need a piece of paper to get through. But then with those clients, it's just about fine-tuning more the energy systems, making sure that the functional movement screening's up to par and, you know, the names of muscles and that type of thing. So
yeah, I think it can be a little bit of a misnomer that people think that they already have to be in shape or, you know, are constantly going to the gym to become a personal trainer. I don't think that's the case, and that's clearly what you're seeing with clients coming through your doors. We had a guest on that used to work in the IT industry. I think he was 30 or 40 kilos overweight and got really into CrossFit and started his own CrossFit gym. You can come from any walk of life, and I think fitness is a great tool that anyone can latch onto and make it a career.
Definitely, and especially with all the Instagram models coming out, like a lot of people have this self-image and I guess this misconception that PTs have like a six-pack and a rip.
Yeah.
But it's just not the case. No. It's, you know, the people are connected, especially the general population, are connected to people who have a story. And this is one thing I do always tell my students is that if you have a story or if you've got something that you connect with a lot of people, you've not only got a niche market to begin with, but then you've also got a way to connect to people. But if you've always been, and it's no disrespect to anyone who is naturally, you know, fit and healthy and loves it, but it's quite difficult if you've got someone walking in at 120 kilos and they've been on your program with you for 10 weeks and all of a sudden had a binge over the weekend. You know, they don't need to be berated and say, well, you've just wasted this 10 weeks. They need someone to actually empathize with them and understand that, you know, they've been like this for 10 years. It's not something they can change in 10 weeks and then think it's going to be okay.
Yeah, it's a much longer, you almost call it a life journey, I think, fitness. You're always working on how to become better and fine-tuning the way you go about things. So
definitely right.
Yeah, it can be a very, very long process.
Oh, yeah. It's even for myself. So it's like I was diagnosed with cancer, unfortunately, and I had steroids that I had to take and my weight was going up and down. And at the time when I could, I also lost all my hair, so I wasn't the most attractive thing when it was all happening. But then what happened, I was still being a PT on the floor and even being a gym owner at the time and also teaching my students. It was quite phenomenal how even people who had known me for those years prior thought they had the right to say something about how I looked.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You know, so it's not even just people who have been in the industry for a long time. And that's something as PTs and as students that, you know, we want to impart on them that to say that it's going to happen no matter what level and what status you're at. There are going to be people who are going to pull you down or make a comment about the way you look, but it's who you actually are talking to and the type of niche clients that you've actually got that you can start connecting and build a flourishing business.
And I think if you've got a goal in mind, I mean, it's not about where you are today so much. It's about where you want to get to and how you get there. So I think not letting people get to you like that is you have to have a very strong state of mind.
Like you still have to train, you have to be active in the industry, but you don't have to be a size 2 to be successful.
No, of course not. No,
definitely not. And any type of exercise is good, I think, as long as it's safe and there's no risk to the client. I think, you know, if you like dancing, then go for it. If you like CrossFit, then as long as you're safe about it, it doesn't matter. Whatever passion you've got to start moving from a sedentary lifestyle is fantastic.
Oh, so. Definitely. Even just the basics, getting out and going for a walk can be more than enough sometimes.
100%. And it's one of the most undervalued things, I think. People go, it's just walking, it's not going to do anything. Definitely. Well, you know, getting out into fresh air can be a really great thing. So.
All right, so Sam, if people want to follow you guys and get involved, what's the best way to go about that?
Yeah, definitely. So you can jump on our website, www.ahff.edu.au. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat under AHFF.
And YouTube as well?
Yep, and YouTube. We're under AHFF on that as well, Australian Health and Fitness Federation. So we pop up videos for PTs if they want to rehash anything and different guest speakers that we've had on. So when I had
a good look through your YouTube page the other night. You pump out quite a few videos, which is great. I think giving people the opportunity to see visually what you guys are up to works really well.
Yeah, definitely. And we definitely invite a lot of guest speakers and leaders in the fitness industry, from dietitians, physiotherapists, chiropractors, Olympic lifters. We had Jackson Pios actually come to talk to our students about intermittent fasting and athletic performance. So really, any way we can bring industry experts and fitness experts to talk to our future PTs is going to give them invaluable information. And that's a lot of what we put onto our YouTube channels as well. And we put them on a lot of workshops and different business seminars with the Small Business Council of Western Australia and things like that as well.
Yeah, awesome.
So all of that is on there, on the website, obviously ahff.edu.au. It's up there too.
All right, well, Sam, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for taking the time to have a chat to us. We really appreciate it.
No, it's been great. Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. It's really great to have a chat to someone that loves to talk and is passionate about what they're doing. It makes a huge difference.
No, that's awesome. Thank you again.
If you'd like to be involved in an episode of the Hyperbeat podcast, send an email to info@hyperbeat.com.au or contact us through our social media channels.